What is going on, guys? Merry Christmas, and we are getting closer to almost 2026, but have no fear because the dips are here and we are going to look for the rips. Yes, guys, it is now time once again, Sunday, where we bring you buy the rips. Buy the dips, sell the rips. And it's time to take a look at what coins are actually doing pretty good and what coins are in the dip for you guys to make a good, massive gain, guys. The market is a little bit sketchy right now, but I think it's going to be green pretty soon. And some of these dips are getting pretty juicy on some of these coins. And we're going to talk about not only some newer coins, but we're also going to be mentioning some older coins that I feel could still potentially have a nice little upside. With that being said, guys, if you do not want to miss any dip and you want to get it when it actually happens and it hits that best target, Boltz Alpha is where to go. Link is down below in Discord. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So if you guys have been following me on Boltz Alpha, I gave you this call. We made some really good gains on this one, guys. Really nice juicy entries on this huge spike up. But right now it's kind of segueing. It's moving down. And it's something very interesting about this coin is like it says 3 million right here, but it's really what this is, 1.8 million, 1.8 market cap. That's the real number. So right now it's kind of just been segueing within this range. I think this has a really good amount of potential to actually come back here and test this all-time high. Ideally here, what I would like to see is I would like to see a 1.5 million entry. Right now it's at 1.8. Anything under 2 mil seems reasonable enough for me, where I could tell you guys that's a very good buy zone. But I think we might see, realistically speaking, 1.7 again. So we might see the bounce. It'll kind of start picking up there to 2 mil, and we might see that nice retracement back down to 1.7. The best ideal entry is 1.5, but 1.7 seems like a very reasonable entry where I would want to take a stab. I don't want to tell you guys go at 1.8. I mean, it's not that much of a difference, but if you just don't want to miss out and be like, okay, I just want to get in there and just want to make sure in case of anything, I could always DCA back down, this would be a very good entry, but I still think this does all-time high. Of course, if you were in Boltz Alpha, you got this way lower, and that's the advantage of being in Boltz Alpha. So hopefully you guys are locked in. I think this coin will do pretty well once the market starts correcting itself and gets a little bit better. We should see a nice little upside on this one. This one's called PLOI. All right. With that being said, another coin that I mention very often is Nobody. It's a very interesting coin because it doesn't die. It just kind of comes back to life, and then it kind of comes back down, comes back to life. So it's one of those coins that it seems like it has a very strong community. Ideally here, guys, the entry we're looking for here is not this 9 million. We're kind of looking at an entry somewhere around the range of 9 million to 8 million. Ideally, this would be the best buy zone, but I don't think we'll get this far down. When it comes to 8 mil, I'm still going to call it just in case we get to this 8 mil. That's kind of what you're looking at. But I do feel like we're going to get down here like to this 9 million range. And that's where I think it would be a nice little kind of re-entry here. Nice potential 2x on this one, or with a nice little upside. So one to keep an eye on. But ideally 8.7 would be like the beautiful range. But that 9.3, 9 mil range would be like the, okay, let's take a stab at it and see if we can get a nice little entry on it. The next one we have, guys, is called AVIC. And I actually gave you this coin back down here, fellas. Back down here on the 29th of October. It was down like at 17 million. Ran up to 90 million. Right now it's just trickling down. It's been holding this nice little kind of like defending this 33 mil, 34 mil range. Ideally with coins like this that we never know if that's the floor, because we don't run right now. It's kind of still bleeding a little bit, so we don't know if that's the floor per se. I always like to put like a little bit in just in case that's the floor. So 3 million would probably be like my first initial, not heavy bidding, just want to make sure I get something in there in case it goes back up. So 33 million or 34 million, it's a nice ideal range there. But that doesn't mean we might not see a test of another floor here of this range right here of 27 million. So that is kind of like the zone. I know it's a bigger like buy zone and funnel here, but I still feel like that is kind of like what you're looking at when it comes to trading this one. You want to see you kind of get it around that range That's kind of like where it looks like a very nice juicy entry. And I do think this bounces back up eventually, should theoretically get past the all-time high. It's just the market's doing really bad. But this is a very, very good ICM, which I feel will have a nice potential bounce back. If you weren't able to get on this first call that we had in the Boltz Alpha, you could always come in here and see if we can get another run up here. Maybe we get this 27, 25 mil range bounce, and we'll accumulate here a little bit, and then we'll get to another retest to this all-time high. But this is a coin you definitely want to be paying attention to. The other coin I'm going to mention is 67, and we kind of mentioned 67 last time on Boltz Alpha right here. Also at this 8 mil, and it's got this massive rip, right? A nice little 3x. Right now, we're kind of like in stalemate with 67. It's one of those things where it's either going to rip or it's just going to completely die off. Right now, it's sitting at that 12 million market cap. It's been holding that for a nice steady range. Ideally, here, this is my thought process on this one. I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys. I think the worst case scenario, this comes to 10 mil and it just kind of stays there for a little bit, or it holds that 12 million range and it stays there for a little bit and then it rips. Or the worst case scenario, it dips below 10 million and it's kind of like GG's. It's let's pack our bags and kind of see what else we find type of play. One that I'm paying attention to, super viral, super big, could rip at any moment, but is just not where I would love to see it. Where I would love to see where it's like, yeah, guys, this is gonna kind of rip back up, but the risk to reward is actually there. I would probably say, I'll take a stab here. I'll put a little bit of soul here at 12 mil. See if this runs up. If it runs up, then I made some profit. If it comes back down, I'll put a nice little hefty stop loss here at below 8 million, just to make sure I exit out of my position with a loss though. But still has really good potential of actually going up. So it's one of those plays that you kind of have to be kind of on the fence a little bit. Okay. The next one we have is Spark, and I've been talking about Spark for quite a long time. It had a crazy, crazy rip from almost 1 million all the way to 7 mil, almost a nice 67x. Right now, it's kind of segueing here around this 2 mil range. I actually like it here at 2 mil. Theoretically, I don't want to see it coming further down, but I think this is like one of these type of coins, like kind of like what we saw with Pippin, where the coin kind of just stays dead. I hate using the word dead, but the coin just kind of stays, dormant for a very long time, and then some massive news comes out of the coin and it just completely rips, which is what happened here. You see this big rip because news came out of it, so you can see the potential of what the coin is capable of doing. But I still think a nice bid here around 2 mil would be ideal, and of course with the possibility this actually dips a little bit lower and comes back down here and tests that 1 million range. So it's one of these coins you want to just kind of keep keep an eye on, keep track on, and see what it does and if it's going to be moving, if it's not moving. But that is one that we're definitely keeping an eye on, and that is Spark. The next one we have, guys, is Useless, and this is like buy right now type of time, right? Because right now it's literally at 86. This has been like the bottom of this coin, and as you see here, it's always gotten a bounce here. It hasn't gone any lower than this, and that's kind of what we're looking at right here. So this is one where I would probably take a stab like right now, buy this at 86, and then ideally we wanted to go to 160, but even like a nice big 40, 50%, 70% gain on this one with a nice big bag would be pretty good. 86 has kind of been the lowest that it's been, so it's a nice little buy-in here for Useless. So one of the strongest memes of 2025. And potentially I don't feel like it's completely over. It's still a very bullish coin, so buy zone is perfect. The next one we're going to be taking a look at is Dupe, and this one's coming down to 10 mil. It's kind of held that 10 mil multiple times, so it held it here. It's held it for ever since this big, massive dip. It hasn't dipped below this 8 mil range. So this 10 mil range is a nice little bidding zone here at 10, potential of a drop down to 8. That's kind of like what we're looking at. We wanted to hold that 10 to 8 mil range. So right now it's kind of here down at 10, and we're kind of just keeping an eye on it very closely. But I think good bidding zone right now, but with the potential of it coming down here to 8 and just kind of holding that for quite a long time there. So Dupe is the one that I feel is going to be pretty good for Q1 and Q2 of 2026. The next one we're looking at is Franklin. Now Franklin's another one. It came down to 4.7 mil. It's kind of sitting there right now. And the thing with Franklin, it's a very popular meme, very trendy all over CT right now. you know, with all the PvP, all the stuff that's been happening, it's kind of like in buy zone area right now, but with the possibility that it might come down lower to 3 mil and come down to that range. Right now, it's just kind of like a bleeding chart. But I think bid wise, this is a really good bid zone right here at 4.7 mil, like 4.5 mil, with a potential of it coming down to like, you know, kind of coming down within like 3 mil to 3.5 mil, and potentially a nice little bounce to a nice little 2x. So hopefully, if you guys never got into Franklin, that would be a really good time to kind of take a look at it with that potential push. The next one we have is WOJAK, and this is literally on buy zone at the current moment. Right now, it's at 20 million, 21 mil. This theoretically would be the ideal buy zone when it comes to picking this one up, but we're looking for a bounce here. It went up to 60, so we want to see some sort of consolidation here and not continue bleeding. But this would be like an ideal entry for WOJAK, which could potentially give you a nice little 2 to 3x, even more, just because on the virality of the actual meme itself. But we want to be keeping a close eye on it to see if it doesn't dip any further, because if it does dip a little bit further, we're looking like maybe around 12 mil, 13 mil, as far as how far it'll come down, you know, that 15 mil to 12 mil range. But we want to keep a close eye, but we don't want to miss the rip. So good bidding zone right now. A little bit of Solana, see what it does, and hopefully it doesn't keep bleeding, and we get a nice little bounce on WOJAK. Of course, all this information on which ones I think will do pretty well are going to be located on Boltz Alpha. All right, the next one we have, guys, is this one. I think I already mentioned it to you guys. We have another one called Miner. Miner is a very popular meme known everywhere. The IPO actually got already obtained. It's had a few dips. It's had a few corrections here. This 5 mil correction was beautiful because it ran up back to like 1.5. So a nice little 3x there. Boltz Alpha, as you guys already know. But right now it's sitting at 1.7. I think anything below 2 mil is perfect. Ideally, entry here would be 1.5 to 1.7. We're kind of where it's at right now. I think it still gets a retest here to all-time high. So even from right now, it's still a nice little 2x. If you're trying to get an entry here, but Miner looks pretty solid, pretty strong community. You just want to make sure you get in here as quickly as possibly can. Of course, this is a newer coin, and the problem is with newer coins, you don't know how long it's going to take for them to rip, but eventually this is such a really good narrative, such a good meme, that I think eventually it will kind of go up eventually here. So Miner, pretty good bid zone here. 1.5 would be my best entry, but if not, then you know this is kind of like the range you're looking for Miner. The last one I want to mention, and this is basically like one of the things where it's like this, it's either like now or it's kind of over type of play. Okay, so this is Uranus, and this is all the way down to 6.6 mil. I don't think it should bleed any further. Like, I think it maybe comes down to 5. If it goes below 5, it's pretty much over. Okay, if it goes below 5, it's pretty much over. But theoretically, this should get a bounce. Okay, theoretically, this should get a bounce. It's just the #1 meme on Jupiter, so I highly doubt they let this completely die out. But right now, 6 and 5 is kind of what I'm looking at right now. It's almost like a no-brainer bid just to throw in one Solana in there and see what happens, because it's super low right now. And that's kind of like what we're looking at with this one in particular, with a nice potential to kind of like 2 to 3x on this one. If it just even runs it back to 20 mil, still potentially a nice little 4x there. So just keep an eye on this one, and it's completely bottom out. It's either it's a win-win or it's over. So that's what we have right now, guys, as far as the dips and rips. Hopefully we get more as you know we get out throughout the week. Hopefully the market boosts up really fast, and we'll see these X's pretty fast. But that's what we have right now, guys. Also, don't forget we stream every Tuesday and Thursday. If you guys don't want to miss a potential 2, 3, 5, 7x, and if you don't want to miss 100, a 10, a 20x, Boltz Alpha is where you guys got to lock in. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.